Stop. Here's the proof. If your APR is about 20.97%, and that's what the Fed's G19 shows for credit card plans recently, then a balance can grow like a silent tax if you only pay the minimum. Minimum payments don't solve debt, they preserve it. And it's not a theory, this is math. The claim is simple. In 2026, the credit card trap isn't credit cards. It's minimum payments. They're designed to keep you on a treadmill, moving, sweating, and not getting anywhere. I know what you're thinking. I'm not irresponsible. I just need breathing room. Fair. But breathing room becomes a trap door when the minimum is structured to mostly feed interest. In 30 seconds, I'll show you exactly what a minimum payment really buys you. Time, but at a price. Also, 3 things you are going to want to see later. The 36-month box on your statement, what it, or S, really telling you, the hidden driver pushing rates higher even when risk didn't explode, and the 5-step survival checklist you can use this week. Your minimum payment can be a fuse burning, and you don't hear it. Let me show you a clean example. You owe $10,000 on a card. APR around 21%. That's roughly $175 in interest for the month. If your minimum payment is $200, you're only crushing about $25 of principal. That's the leaking bucket. You're pouring money in, but the bottom is open. In 20 seconds, I'll show you the 4-step framework that explains why balances stick, even when you pay every month. $200 paid, $25 progress. Here's the framework. I call it the Mayan trap. 4 steps. Simple, original, and brutal. M. Minimum payment feeds interest first. Not always officially first, but functionally, because interest accrues daily and shows up before you make progress. In 20 seconds, you'll see why paying on time still loses, because time is the weapon. I. Interest compounds daily for many cards. The CFPB explains many issuers calculate interest daily using average daily balance and a daily periodic rate. Interest doesn't wait for your paycheck. N. New charges reset the race. Even small, just this once, spending keeps you on the treadmill. In 30 seconds, I'll tell you the one number on your statement most people ignore. But first, what city are you in? Type it. Because cost of living changes how fast this trap snaps shut. Trap? Even if the Fed stops moving, your card can still stay expensive. Here's the part people miss. The spread. This system runs on inertia. That little box on your statement? The CFPB says issuers are required to tell you how long payoff takes if you make only minimum payments, and how much you need to pay to clear the balance in 36 months. Assuming no new charges, that box is a warning label. Now the hidden mechanism. Let me show you. The driver that makes this worse in 2026. It's not just rates are high. It's that the margin got fatter. In 20 seconds, I'll explain how credit cards got more expensive even before you changed anything. The CFPB analyzed this. Average APR on accounts assessed interest nearly doubled from 12.9% in late 2013 to 22.8% in 2023. And the APR margin, the spread over prime, hit record levels. Here's the part people miss. When that margin widens, it's like a silent tax on people who revolve balances. And because finance charges often sit inside your minimum due, you can pay faithfully and still barely move. Quick story, someone I know kept paying minimums after groceries jumped. They weren't shopping sprees. It was normal life. But every month the balance didn't fall because the interest ate the payment. That's not laziness, that's structure. Did you live through 2008? And what bill increased the most for you? Rent, groceries, insurance, or car payments? The card isn't help, it's the bridge into a toll road. In 30 seconds, we'll map the domino chain. What happens next if nothing changes? But first, are you debt-free or leveraged? Comment it. No shame. Just data. When APR margins expand, the system doesn't need you to miss payments to profit more. It just needs you to carry balances longer. And with revolving consumer credit around $1.31 trillion recently on the Fed's G19 release, this is not a niche problem. $1 trillion is a lot of treadmills. Now the dominoes, keep it simple. Domino 1, if you pay minimums, your principal barely moves. Domino 2, if principal barely moves, utilization stays high. Your score can get pressured, refinancing gets harder. Domino 3, if refinancing gets harder, you rely on the card again, and the treadmill speeds up. In 30 seconds, I'll show you the one sentence to say to yourself before you tap your card. But first, do you trust your bank? That tells me how you think about the system. Minimum payments turn days into decades. Here's the sentence. Am I buying the item? Or am I buying the interest? Because every swipe on a carried balance is another drop into that leaking bucket. Don't leave. In 1 minute, you get the checklist. Also, would you rather hold cash or metals? I'm curious where your fear converts into action. All right, checklist time. If you leave now, you miss the exact steps. This is where wealth quietly transfers. Here's the 5-step survival checklist for 2026. Screenshot this. Step 1, freeze new charges, 7 days. For 1 week, no new swipes on the revolving card. Stop the bleeding. End the leaking bucket. Step 2. Beat the minimum by a rule. Pick a simple rule. Minimum's $50 or minimum X2 if you can. The point is to cut the fuse. Step 3. Move to principal first behavior. Pay mid-cycle if possible, not just on due date. Lower average daily balance. This tends to reduce interest if your issuer uses average daily balance methods. Step 4. Use the 36-month number as your target. Your statement literally shows a payoff path in 36 months. Treat that as the adult minimum. Step 5. Build a 1 bill buffer. Save a buffer equal to your most volatile bill, groceries, utilities, insurance, so the next shock doesn't push you back through the trapdoor. That's your survival map. Mandatory ending. Because this next part decides whether you escape or whether you stay on the treadmill. The minimum payment is permission to stay trapped. Part 2, I'll make 3 specific promises. I will show you how issuers calculate minimums in the real world and what 1% plus interest actually means on a statement. I'll show you the fastest payoff order when you have multiple cards without motivational fluff. I'll show you the warning signals that your household is approaching a tipping point before late fees start. Because every year, in every cycle, there's a quiet wealth transfer from people who carry balances to the system that prices the interest. Don't be the transfer. One question, what bill increased the most for you this year